If you could change one thing in your production, what would that be?
We're always discovering new endeavors, we're changing lots of things in quite a period, yes.
If you could change one thing about your production, what would that be? Or not just the production, but maybe the whole whiskey or the distillery?
Quite frankly, I have no clue what we should change. I think that what we're doing and the path we've chosen is the right one. Could we do something else? Definitely yes, but I'm not the right one to say what should be changed.
Yeah. If you could change one thing about your whiskey, what would that be?
Yeah, I don't think changes, because I really think we make good whiskey. But we have been doing experiments on the casks, and we've been doing that for all the years.
Yeah.
I think we tried, how would our new make work together with Sauterne cask, together with a Muscatel cask? How do we make this cross between the smoke and the sherry? And we are developing on that. So we've been trying to look what could we do and what could we do different here. So I don't think I want to change it, but we have now. You can say in the start, he thought it should be his hobby. Now we'll be producing much more whiskey. Last year I produced around 10,000 liters of new make. So in a while we have to open up the doors, not only to Denmark, but also to Europe, to say where should we go to sell our whiskey. Yeah.
So you would say maybe change would be not expansion, but maybe a broader audience.
Yeah.
Okay.
Precisely.
What would you change if you could easily do it?
If it was easy, then I would switch every single ingredient in our products to Danish.
Okay.
Yeah. And something we try to, every time we make a new product, how can we incorporate Danish ingredients into this?
Yeah.
But it's more difficult than you would think. We wouldn't be able to make rum because we don't have any sugar canes in Denmark. But we really like to experiment with rum. But we try to make some projects where we do that more and more. As I also showed you earlier, we are trying to incorporate more Danish casks into the production. But there aren't that many casks to get from Denmark, so it's not that easy.
Yeah, obviously.
And you have still to, it's not only good because it's Danish, you still have to find quality. So it's not just, it's a Danish cask, then we use it. We still have to ensure that it's good. And that's why it's easier said than done. But we really want to, if I could change it like that, then everything we did, every ingredient we use was Danish. And not because anything else is bad, just because that's one way to highlight Danish products. And every time we get a tourist, like a German, they want to taste something that is Danish. So it's, and the same with me, if I went to Germany and I had to taste some whiskey, I would also ask, what is purely German whiskey? What is the standard of German whiskey? I'm not interested in tasting a German whiskey that tries to copy Springbank or anything like that, because Springbank already does Springbank.
Yeah. If you could change one thing, what would that be?
Regarding the distillery,
or your project, your whiskey, your distillery?
It's a very big project.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money going into the project, and every year, so we have to work and we have to sell more and more whiskey, and
So maybe the funding.
Maybe with funding.
Yeah. Okay. You would change like a cheat code, so you have more funding.
Yeah, I would like to make more whiskey to have it in the future for selling. So, but now we are limited on what we have of money to produce of whiskey. So that's our limit. Yeah.
I was actually, it's actually, I'm quite happy that you give that answer, because I was just waiting for somebody to say that answer, because in whiskey it's such a complicated business, and it's such a complicated product to make.
Takes time.
And it involves a lot of time and money, and I think many people underestimate that when they consume whiskey, how much effort and passion you have to put into making whiskey, and also invest your own time and money to make whiskey. So
that's a good point.
I very much understand that.
Yeah.
What is the biggest challenge you have right now in your whiskey production here on site?
The production is fine. We just try to find more customers which love to drink two whiskey.
Yeah.
So we try to do it organically, and I think it's a niche product because it's a rare amount of distilleries worldwide doing this extreme organic single estate whiskies. So I think this is always challenging that people getting to know us.
What is your biggest challenge right now?
Our biggest challenge?
I actually forgot that question in German, I think. Sorry.
Our biggest challenge is, of course, the volume on the market. There's a lot of whiskey out there, and to make you being seen, the biggest challenge, of course, is in fact like manpower, meeting all of you great whiskey drinkers out there to bring the flavor to your lips. That's the biggest challenge.
I think the biggest challenge, I've been talking about it just before, trying to open up windows and going to other countries than Denmark, because we are producing more than we can sell in Denmark when we are reaching maybe 2-3 years. So we opened up already. Kirsch released our whiskey and bought some casks. Berry Brothers and Roth in London bought casks and released them a few years back. And we do a little business with Italy also. But that will be a challenge.
Yeah.
And I hope, I also hope that things will get more stable in the world economy and the political situation, because people are frightened now. They are scared, and they don't want to use their money on the top level for buying whiskey, because what should happen? And I hope that will be better. Yeah.
If you have to pick one Scotch brand or distillery that you would buy, which one would it be?
So Waterford, for example, it's getting quite close to our terroir whiskey philosophy.
Okay, it's an Irish distillery, but we have to admit it's made by a Scotsman. So it used to be made by a Scotsman. So I think it's we can let that slide. If you would have to pick a Scotch distillery,
very easy,
other than Stauning,
then no doubt about it, I will take Isla Rosai. Like the flavor, I like what they are doing, I like the story. I just think that it's a distillery also quite new. And for me, I will keep an eye on it. I will follow them. So if I should choose another one, but I could also mention like Stork from Germany. If I should take a whiskey distillery that is in the rye, that could also be one that I really,
That would be the next question. Pick a non-Scotch distillery.
Then we're back to it. Yes, definitely, yes. I have a good impression, and I really think that Stork is doing a great job. Kuro from Finland could also, and then of course if you like more traditional, then Starward from Australia. I find it very, very interesting what they are doing.
Agreed, yeah.
But my main saying is like, stay open-minded, explore whiskey. I will never just choose like that's my favorite football team or that is my favorite. No, by whiskey is really just enjoy all the flavors out there.
I couldn't agree more. If you have to pick a Scotch distillery that you would buy, which one would that be to accompany yours?
Yeah. All my life, I've been changing my taste.
Same here.
In the beginning, I only drank sherry matured whiskey because I think, oh, this sweetness is lovely. This period, I'm trying to. I really like bourbon matured whiskey. It's really clean and it's okay. You can taste what you get. You know what's in the bottle, and so it's changing, and it's also season decided. So in the spring and the summer, I really like the bourbon matured whiskey. If I go to the West Coast and I have a rainy and really cold day, go to a summer house, I sit down. I really like a peated dark whiskey. But if I go to a Scottish distillery, I really love. For example, Mortlach, if you should say, from Scotland, and if it should be peated Islay whiskey, I love that. Or Bowmore is really lovely too. The sweetness together with the peat, I love that.
Great picks.
Yeah.
Quite up my alley. Mortlach and Bowmore. If you would have to pick a Scotch or a Scotch brand, a Scotch distillery to accompany your distillery, which one would you pick?
Yeah, well, since I was very small, I was always fascinated about Glenfiddich.
Yeah.
I just think it was fascinating.
Lovely place, lovely people, and without Glenfiddich we wouldn't be sitting here, probably. No. So a lot to thank to Glenfiddich. Pick a world whiskey other than yours. Outside of Scotland and Ireland.
Best rye whiskey from Stauning.
Okay. Still in Denmark? If you would, the same question, if you would have to pick a world whiskey to accompany your whiskey, that is not a Danish whiskey and not a Scotch and Irish whiskey.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Which one I would pick now?
And what do you think makes Danish whiskey unique?
I think that we are young in whiskey production in Denmark. But I think we've been doing a lot of experiments to get where we are now.
Yeah.
Of course, we've been searching back in history and saying, okay, how do they do in Scotland? Because they've not invented whiskey, but they've been making whiskey for a couple of 100 years now. So they have experience here. But when you have experience, you can also get stuck. And you don't move because, okay, we've been doing this for 100 years now, why shouldn't we develop?
Yeah.
Here in Denmark we have many different types of distilleries making really good whiskey.
Yeah.
When we started back in 2009, we had maybe 5 distilleries here, micro distilleries here in Denmark. Now we've got maybe 40 micro distilleries.
Yeah.
So it's developing. Some of them, I've tasted many of them. Some of them absolutely will manage, and some of them there's a long way to go now.
Yeah. But I would as a whiskey nerd from another country, I would certainly agree what you said that. Scotland might be a bit in trouble in terms of doing the same all over again, some distilleries. And I think that Denmark, as far as you guys are the 3rd distillery I visit, and every single distillery surprised me again and in a different way. So I would totally agree that the diversity is a very big
issue.
And it's a very positive thing for whiskey drinkers, I think.
Yeah.
Cool. If you would have to pick a world whiskey, so non-Scotch, non-Irish, and in that case non-Danish whiskey.
Yeah, a world whiskey. Well, the Japanese, they do very good, very what do you call it, crispy.
Yeah.
Nice whiskeys, I think, in Japan.
Do you have a specific brand where you say that's my favorite?
Really,
okay.
No. I've been traveling in Tokyo for a week, and I tasted some difference, and I think it's quite fun to taste.
Awesome.
It's very clear and very.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still waiting to have the chance to go to Japan, but it must be
it's a nice place.
Great experience.
Yeah.
What makes Danish whiskey unique, in your opinion?
It's the sense of place we try to figure out. It's not only True Whiskey, it's all other distilleries in Denmark finding to try to establish their own philosophy, sustainability, and doing the productions. I think it's never should be a mass product. It's always very unique to define the sense of place and a gram of whiskey.
I would say that's a little bit, we are tradition like the wine with the terroir. We are using all what we can get within a certain distance from the distillery. So it's really like a Danish whiskey made with Danish grain, Danish water, and it brings its own flavor.
Cool. What makes Danish whiskey unique?
In order to answer a question, I think there's you need to know that there was this big food revolution many years ago where you had Noma, one of the best restaurants in the world, really focusing on local Danish herbs that we in Denmark even haven't heard of, and is today more common to know about. And the big new Nordic scene revolutionized the whole cuisine of making everything local and picking herbs from nearby and telling a story through that. And I worked, before I got into Trolden, I worked in the wine industry, but also as a bartender. And I worked in one of the best bars in the world, where even there you still used mango and oranges and limes and coconut and very exotic fruits. And there's nothing wrong with it. It was really a good place to work in, but there was not this discussion about how can we adopt local ingredients into making cocktails. So what should we do to replace the lemons and limes? So when I started here, I saw that we slowly tried to adopt one of these notions that we got from Noma, but it was very much delayed. But I see it more and more. So when I talk to my colleagues in the business, they are talking more about adopting local ingredients and local casks. So it's definitely something I see more and more. So I wouldn't say that Danish whiskey is unique yet, but we're definitely getting close to something that makes something truly Danish and very Danish whiskey. And it is through these experimentations with different casks and different environments and different ingredients that we are really getting good at something. And we are winning awards right now for our whiskey, but I think we have not even reached the limit of what Danish whiskey can be. I really think we have the potential of be making really, really, really good whiskey. But it is through this notion of using local ingredients, as we talked about earlier, that I think we can be unique, and I think every country can be unique. When you make Finnish whiskey or Swedish whiskey and Norwegian whiskey, it's really on focusing on what are we good at. And we also have the same, I think they have the same issue in the wine industry in Denmark right now. There are those who make the wines on grapes and are really focusing on making that as good as possible and are good at that. But there are also those who say, well, we will never be able to grow grapes as well as France or Italy and Spain, so we will make something that we are good at in Denmark. And we make some of the best apples in the world, for example. So they are making wines on apples. And I think you will see the same tendency in Denmark. There's those who will copy what Scotland and Ireland is good at, and then there are those who will try to find their own way in saying, what are we good at in Denmark?
Once again, and I think that's a very good answer. I think that's one of the reasons why I like whiskey so much, because most, or the whiskey distilleries that do have that kind of approach like you guys, that makes whiskey so interesting, because whiskey reflects the tradition, the culture, the food, way of life, the thinking of a nation or of a place.
Yeah.
And I think that makes whiskey quite interesting. So.
Yeah, and also that you as a whiskey distillery you can be nuanced in it. So you don't have to be either experimental or traditional.
Yes.
You can be both. So we still honor the Scottish whiskey. It's not a rebellion against Scottish whiskey.
Yeah.
It's just a way of honoring it and what it has done, and also be able to say, well, we try to find our own way in this. And both are completely valid. So I think that is not unique for Trolden, but that is one way we go with it. So when we make rum or whiskey and gin, we honor the traditions, but we also try to experiment and say, what if we just break the rules? But you have to know the rules before you can break them.
That's a good point, yeah. What do you think makes Danish whiskey unique?
Well, maybe we're not unique yet, but it's coming there. I think we're working on it. There's a lot of small micro distilleries coming up, getting bigger. Some is big already, and I think we will be a whiskey nation one day.
Yeah, I would agree.
I hope so. Yeah.
I feel like you already are that, to be honest, because I came here for the first time. This is like quite a fresh start for me. But I can see a red line through all the distilleries. I feel there is something that unifies Danish whiskey.
I'm happy. Yeah.
It's I feel that, for example, compared to Germany, where we are all over the place, we don't really have a unified style of that. And all of you distilleries are very different, but still, I feel you can sort of see a link. So I think you already have that.
We also have a good connection together.
Yes.
We meet together and we speak together and we have a good network. Yeah. It's important.
And I think as a whiskey nerd you can feel that.
Because we're not competitors. We have to stay together.
That's exactly what Thomas from Trolden told me yesterday. It's a nice answer. If you have to describe your whiskey in one word, what would that be?
Unique.
Yeah, I guess that answer, but I think it's fitting the profile.
Was easy for me in German. What should I say in English? Outstanding. I really like and I will then take it into our rye whiskey that I just find is outstanding. Easy drinkable, a lot of flavors, vanilla, citrus, and the pfeffer, and it's just try it.
As an independent voice, after I tasted those rye whiskeys in the warehouse, I can agree. Your whiskey in one word.
Oh, in one word. Very good. Two words. Okay. If I could use two words, I would say oily, and I will say sting nettles.
Your whiskey in one word.
That's not fair.
I know.
Our whiskey. Craftsmanship. Yeah. Whatever we do in Trolden, it's all about honoring the craftsmanship and being true to that. So we never take the easy way out. So we always ask ourselves, what is the right thing to do? Not what is the best thing to do. What is the right thing to do right now? And that takes craftsmanship. So
cool.
Yeah.
If you would have to describe your whiskey in one word, what would that be?
Easy drinkable.
Yeah.
But still complex. Yeah.
People should buy your whiskey because
they love to know where the product comes from, where the grain comes from, the malt, where is it distilled, who is behind this distillery. So it's not a black box, it's your producer. That's why you should buy a 2 Whisky.
So if you're interested now in 2 Whisky, you can find it online on the website. If you're in Germany, Denmark or Sweden, I think you can buy it in retailers. If you're outside of any of those countries, hit the website and try some 2 Whisky. Thank you so much for having me, and
thanks, Leon.
see you on the road. And the last question, people should buy your whiskey because?
Because they are curious about how Danish whiskey is, and because they can get an impression how was whiskey made 150 years ago. I mean, we do also our rye whiskey like it was a single malt. We do this when we are floor malting like they did in the old days where it was possible because the amount of whiskey they made was smaller. We work with direct fired pot stills. It's also like an old tradition. We're not the only one, but that's two main reason why I say you should try a Stauning.
Awesome. People should buy your whiskey because. Or it's not the question actually.
No.
People should buy your whiskey because.
Yeah. Okay, because we make a really good aromatic tasting whiskey, really oily. The aromas connect to raw oil, so it has its own character. And we are one of the oldest distilleries in Denmark, so we are having cask, and we used to say, okay, we want to wait. The whiskey should be ready before we release it because and now we release whiskey 10, 11, 12 years old, and of course the maturing makes it makes it better, makes it stable, makes it more round, makes it in balance. So I think it's really, really good.
John, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me camp out in the back.
You are welcome.
And thank you for the nice tour and your time.
You're welcome. Anytime.
And everybody out there, if you can get your hands on a Fary Lochan whiskey, definitely try it. It's worth your time. People should buy your whiskey because?
Because they want to taste what Danish whiskey can be and what Danish whiskey is. Yeah, if they want to try something that Denmark is able to do, then they should try our whiskey. That both can be traditional and still experimental.
Yeah.
If they can live with both being present, then they should buy our whiskey.
Sounds cool. Like I can't wait to try it. Thomas, thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, sure.
And this will be a sound recording, but hopefully the rest of the video stuff is fine.
Yeah.
That was a really, really nice visit, and I'm falling a little bit in love with Denmark. It's very funny because I wasn't a big fan of Scandinavian whiskey before. And I had a very bad experience as a child coming to Denmark because it was super boring. We stayed on a farm and it was so boring, and I was like, I'm never going back to Denmark. And now I had this week of time to travel, and I felt like, why don't you go to Denmark? It's so close, and they have whiskey distilleries, and you haven't visited them. And now every day I visit more distilleries. One day is better than the other. It's like,
then Nyborg really has something to.
I mean, the bar is very high now for Nyborg, I have to say, but it's crazy. Like every distillery is so unique and has something special to offer, and is unique in their own way.
Yeah.
But I would definitely agree that I feel this uniqueness of the Danish approach is very prominent.
Yeah, and it is a big friendship with all of the distilleries. And every time I walk into a hotel or restaurant and are trying to sell my product, they already have Danish whiskey. Where I'm saying, well, it's not about replacing the other competitors. It's actually the more Danish whiskey. I would more happily replace the Jack Daniel's whiskey than Fary Lochan. I would like that we both can be there.
Yeah.
And that people know that our whiskey does not taste any similar to Fary Lochan. Yeah. So I'm never trying to get rid of my competitors. I'm always trying to get rid of the more standard stuff.
Yeah. And people should buy your whiskey because
it's Danish, it's organic. We only done organic since we started. It's a good quality for a good price, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Straight answer.
Yeah,
I like that.
I hope so. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
So that was part 2, and that concludes our journey together through Denmark. You've been with me so far in some of the distilleries. We did a tour together, and we had this great opportunity to ask all these distilleries questions and to get their different insight, their different opinions, and to see the different approaches they take. Some are closer to Scotch whisky, some are more individual, further away, but all of them are trying to find their Danish identity. All of them are trying to do something different. Some are trying to be more local, some are organic. Some try to use different distillation approaches. Some are working with Danish oak, and some are working with Danish barley. So there's a lot of sense of place and a lot of regional approach to Danish whiskey. And I really think this is a very interesting way to go. And I'm very much looking forward to try more Danish whiskey in the future. Most of the whiskeys I enjoyed. I really liked. Some I didn't, but I always felt that there was something there, something special and something unique, and something with a lot of passion and driving to create a unique and high quality product. So yeah, I'm very much hooked on Danish whiskey right now, and I can't wait to go back to Denmark and visit some more distilleries, and maybe go back to some of the ones that I already visited. So far, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time down the road.
And you cleared your memory.
I did, yes. I did a lot of work yesterday. I even deleted some apps. So
Yeah.
Facebook is now gone, which is actually not a bad thing.
Oh, yeah.